My name's Heidi Beierle, and I live over in the York neighborhood. And I've been a board member for a little, well, I guess 3.5 years. So I've been car-free since 2007, and I've been very interested in tourism, transportation, and recreation, and equitable access. And so pre-pandemic, I was doing more community and regional planning and in those areas. And then when the pandemic hit, I wasn't doing that kind of thing. And the opportunity to run for the co-op board felt like an opportunity to use some of those skills that I was kind of not sure, what they would be in my future. So I'm really interested in resilient local economies and food systems, and so serving on the co-op board feels like a way that I can really contribute back to the community and help in building that local resiliency. I think it's important for Bellingham to have a grocery store owned by the community because co-ops are much more nimble and flexible than large conglomerates, and also co-ops recirculate money and resources and benefits throughout the community. So in terms of all the uncertainties that we have in our future in terms of climate and geopolitical conflict and other kinds of resource issues, it seems like we are better poised to withstand uncertainties by having a place like the co-op that's invested in making sure we can survive. So my vision for the co-op is that it remains a cornerstone of the local, of a healthy local economy and food system. And part of how I have worked on that in the past is through developing the current strategic plan, and I'm also very interested in continuing to update the strategic plan and banging the drum during our meetings about how the elements in the strategic plan are part of our annual business planning process, are part of our member engagement, and other ways that elements of the strategic plan can be part of our work as the board. I did want to say that I'm a writer and artist, and I feel like that's really an asset to the co-op in that I'm a deep thinker. I'm really interested in arts and in the environment, and so thinking holistically about how our community operates and functions. And the work of the board, I've learned, isn't, it's not about getting into the weeds on operations. It's a much bigger picture, visionary kind of work, except for the part where we're getting into the nitty-gritty details of what the policies say and how we operate. And I feel like I have a lot of skill to offer, both in the nitty-gritty wording of how we're operating and then also in imagining future situations. Oh, my favorite treat at the co-op? Wow. There's so many. I mean, the broccolis have been amazing this week. They're like the size of my head. But I am really fond of the chocolate mousse cake. So definitely as a treat, the local chocolate mousse cake here, the bakers do an amazing job.
Broccoli, as good as it is.
Not quite a treat.